Well, April grades for the AL Central are out for ESPN. Steve, if you take 179 full, what you got right there, 218. It's not a great division. Let's be frank. ESPN gave Minnesota a B+, Cleveland a C-, Detroit a D, Kansas City an F, and Chicago an F-. They literally put 3 minuses in the article. I wanted to be a little more polite. I just put 1, but they got, because 3 looked like one giant dash and didn't look right. But they got an F-. Overall, too harsh, too fair, just right for the Guardians.
I actually think should have been harsher. I would have given them a D. I mean, they were, their record is, what are they now? Game under 500? I can't remember off the top of my head. The 3. What were they at the end of April? In April, they're
no.
That's
14-7 today. They were 12-14.
They were 12-14. So they're under 500. When to that point they had played nobody except for that one Yankee series. The Mariners are okay, but the Mariners are not playing well either. And so they've had a very favorable schedule, and they've been lousy. And the only reason it's not a bigger disaster is because the division stinks. Now I tell people this all the time. I'm not using that. I'm not writing off the team or panicking long term, but the team has been awful in April. I would give them a D for the month of April.
Straight D. I keep trying
because your expectations factor in, and they've disappointed in every part of the team is a disappointment right now.
For me, I just don't know. I get why it happens. Because we don't have the level. Well, supposedly we don't have the money to go out and get bats, and we can't just keep getting guys even going after Bell was you can't whiff on him because the amount of money you spend on him, you need him to produce. But I think we've kind of lulled ourselves into sleep into thinking that maybe hitting is not as important. Maybe our power numbers are down, but we have to do it a different way. I just don't know. I just don't know if you can win that way. It's the offense is so anemic that you're counting on your rotation to be completely healthy. Bullpen has to be lights out, and you got to hold guys under 3 runs. I don't know if you could do that anymore.
No, well, I think you can win that way, but they're not playing that. They're not playing there's no margin for error. If you're trying to score runs without power, you've got to be great across the board at getting on base. And they're
defense,
not for the first month of the season. They haven't done the things they did last year, Jason, in that way.
We're probably splitting hairs here.
Yeah.
I think C- is fair.
Yeah.
Because they've lost 40% of their starting rotation right out of the gate, and this is an organization that's been built on pitching for years. And to lose 40%, now you can argue Savali, what were you really going to get? But the fact is, 40% of your starting rotation was knocked out right away. So I'll stick with the C- there. I don't understand how you give the Twins a B+. What are you basing that on? Why are they a B+? They're 3 games better than the Guardians. Is that really worthy of 2 letter grades higher?
I would have given them a C+.
Yeah, the whole division's a C. Yeah, really.
The other 3 teams. The other 3 teams are horrible.
Detroit, I'd argue, exceeded expectations. They're still sort of lingering.
Yeah, I got to factor that in.
Real quick, when this came out in April, Detroit was 8-21. They've won 3 of the last 4, and I believe Minnesota was 5 games over 500 at the end of April.
Okay,
so a couple has changed in the last 2-3 days, but still.
Can we name a player on the Guardians that's doing better than you expected? Is there a single guy?
Zunino probably. He's hit a little bit better than I thought that he would.
But now his batting average is back down to 240. More where you think it would be.
Right. That's actually probably even still a little bit higher than I thought. But still. But other than that.
Straw got off to that hot start. That's disappeared.
Right. The right field is a black hole right
he's
now.
Back.
They're getting nothing. And by the way, I know it's too late now because they signed to an extension. When I was screaming all offseason, go trade for Brian Reynolds, there were an awful lot of people telling me they didn't need a right fielder. Is that not the case, Mike? That there were a lot of people telling me they didn't need a right fielder?
It is true. Bull did say that.
Yes. They need a right fielder.
They do need a right fielder.
Yeah.
And now they got hit with more Espino news yesterday.
Yeah, he's done.
He's shut down for a year or more. It's not good. It's worse than Tommy John when you're talking shoulder and capsule.
Yeah, he's just gone now for a while.
I texted Zach Meisel, well, I'll see you in 2 years when you're a reliever. I think the idea of him as the front of the rotation starter took a big hit yesterday.
Yep.
So, and we still have to see Gavin Williams at some point. I think this summer he'll be up.
Right.
But, when you look at who has exceeded expectations? I don't know.
Because I got a laundry list of guys who have been,
Tanner Bybee, has he exceeded
I mean,
expectations?
Bybee and Allen have done a good job. We didn't even. Honestly, I'm sure we both didn't think they were going to be in the big leagues at this point.
Not this early.
They both done a nice job. Bieber pitched a good game yesterday, but again, 4 strikeouts. I think he's had more than 4 strikeouts in 1 start.
He's got no margin for error. And, I mean, freaking Jake Bauers took him out of the park yesterday.
Okay, I have a question about Jake Bauers.
I didn't want to bring that up. I had erased it from my mind.
Who was Jake Bauers, and why was Twitter freaking out about him?
Because Jake Bauers was on the Indians.
And he was awful. He was awful.
He's awful.
Like,
the Yankees I didn't even know he was in the Yankees.
I didn't either.
I know where every guy is usually, but
I had no idea Jake Bauers was still playing Major League Baseball.
So many. The Yankees have like 14 guys on the injured list.
I thought he was at Dillard's.
He was a total bust. He was a guy that I was told, and I'm sure you've heard this too, Jason, who thought he was a superstar before he'd done anything in the big leagues.
Yes.
He carried himself that way in the locker room. The guys didn't like him.
No.
And he stunk. Where he got a cup of coffee with the Rays. He was okay.
One of the worst trades. Frankly, it's one of the worst trades of this.
I can't remember now who they traded for.
Yandy.
Oh God, yeah.
Yandy to Tampa. Jake Bauers came here.
Yeah.
I think Edwin was somehow wrapped up in that trade as well. It became a
right. It was a
3-teamer.
3-team.
But
deal.
really, if you want to drill down,
that was the big miss.
To Yandy.
A rare miss by the Guardians in a trade. But yeah, I mean, right now the lineup's been awful. Who's having a good season right now?
But here, I mean, I think at this point last year they were 15 and 16.
Yeah,
they're always terrible.
That's why I'm not worried long term.
Yeah, but you still have to grade on what you've been given.
What they've done so far has been terrible. You know who's been good so far? Eli Morgan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Middle reliever. Another guy doesn't really overpower.
No.
Throws low 90s.
The bullpen's been a huge disappointment. Karinchak I don't trust at all. Clase has not been nearly as dominant. Mm-hmm. He's making you nervous right now. Most of the bullpen is struggling right now. Zach Plesac, you can't start him anymore, can you?
I mean, I think he's going to AAA, and
Is he going down?
I think he is. We'll see. I think what else are you going to do?
Put him in the pen.
Well, I agree with that. I think if you take off 1 or 2 of his pitches, make him a 2-pitch pitcher, put him in the bullpen.
So send him to the minors and put him in the bullpen. And let's see if he can do something.
Well, you can do that now. You don't have to send him to the minors for that. You can,
that's true.
I'm going to ask y'all every week.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you scared about Jose, man? I'm looking at these advanced statistics. His barrel percentage is 30 right now.
Look at you with the barrel percentage. I don't even know what a good barrel percentage is. I'm not sure.
Well, the Guardians'
team
barrel percentage is 4.5, which is 29th in baseball.
There's someone worse? Who? Oakland?
Either Oakland or Washington.
Oakland's probably higher. They got a couple guys that are actually hitting.
As a team, and I was looking up the stuff this morning, and I'll get back to you in a sec, but the Guardians have 17 home runs. 16 teams in the league have double that.
Well,
double.
Patrick Wisdom of the Cubs, was a career journeyman, who's kind of found the role for the Cubs the last 3 years. He's not that good a player, but he's got a lot of power. Has 11 home runs by himself.
Jeez.
And the Guardians have 17. I mean, that's just crazy. They're dead last on that, aren't they?
No, the Nationals have 16.
Oh, really?
They're 29. But even if you go at average, you talk about if we're not going to hit for power, hit singles, doubles. That's what this team was kind of built on.
Getting on base. Getting on base is the thing.
Yeah, but the
How many
averages
Guardians
on this
right now have an on base over 350?
Have an on base over 350. So
Yeah.
you have Jose at
Yeah.
375.
That's good.
Quan 361, and
good.
that is it.
That's it. Who's third?
Zanino at 346.
For him,
Zanino's
that's
third.
really good. That's really good for him.
Yeah.
Who's fourth?
Miles Straw 336.
Yeah,
I mean, you have Jimenez, who they just paid 317.
Again, I'm not panicking about guys with track records. Like Jimenez, I trust. He'll get it together. Rosario's been horrible. He'll get it together. Miles Straw is what he is. Everybody got hot and bothered because he had a good spring training. Like all of a sudden now he's going to become a good hitter.
he fell off.
Josh Naylor can't hit lefties. That's not going to change.
He leads this team in RBIs, though.
Naylor?
Yeah, 18.
Because Naylor's really good against righties. And there's nothing wrong with being a platoon player. I don't know why this became a bad thing all of a sudden, being a platoon player. He's good against righties. He's a hot and cold hitter.
Wow.
But, listen, it's all bad right now. The good news is the division stinks. The Tigers, Royals, and White Sox will not be competitive. So you only have to worry about the Twins. They're not that far behind. And hopefully you get McKenzie and Savali back. But, Quantrill was better in his last start. But Logan Allen and Bybee, as long as they're pitching well, got to stay in the rotation. And you hope that Colossae can right the ship, But you never could trust bullpens from year to year.
It's May. I'm not going to say it's a huge series early week of May, first week of May, but Twins are in town this weekend.
Yep.
So you could be tied with them or you could be 6 out by Monday.
I don't like that. I don't like.
For May, it's a big series.
Yeah.
By the way, it just shows overall like the whole effect of you not hitting the ball well. Jose Ramirez traditionally does not have people around him, so he sees pitches. Right now, 45% of his pitches is fastball. He's getting a lot of breaking pitches. Almost 38% of his pitches.
What was his percentage of fastballs last year? Do you have that? I'd like to know if that's changed significantly. Are you concerned, Jason, about Shane Bieber?
51% last year.
Yeah, a little
51.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because he doesn't have the overpowering 98, 99.
Yeah.
So his margins are razor thin in terms of what he can get away with and what he can't. And we saw that yesterday. He pitched a great game yesterday, but made 2 mistakes and they hit them both out of the park.
Let's face it. I know the Yankees lineup right now is not that good.
No.
First of all,
5 through
their
9?
lineup is not that good, period. They have no Judge, who's their best hitter by far. They have no Stanton. They have no Donaldson. So their lineup right now is not very good.
5 through 9 is as bad or worse than the Guardians.
Yeah,
frankly.
I mean, it's lousy. So you face. I think with Bieber though, Bieber is on the verge of his first big payday, right? You wonder if he's panicking. I know seems like there's no emotion there at all, but down deep, the fact that his velocity is way down, he's not his numbers look fine if you're not watching the games, but he's not the same guy, and he's losing money right now.
And trade value.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure.
So I'll be curious to see how this goes. We've said before, I think they got to move him this summer or this. This
and I said on the verge of a payday. It's a year and a half away, but still.
Yeah, I don't think they do anything. I mean, I don't know. They traded Trevor Bauer with a year and a half left, and if things really unravel this year, they might have to look at that. But for now, I'd be surprised sitting here today if they traded him this year. But over the winter, it'll happen.
The word you guys keep saying is razor thin. The margins for the Guardians. Is like, they have. You never want to watch a team, and you never want to sit there and say, one mistake in the first inning, and you feel like you're panicking because now you're like, we know we can't make mistakes.
Right.
You don't. It's uneasy. I watch them, I'm like, man. I'm looking for guys to give up 2 runs in an inning. Guys get guys on second base, and all of a sudden you're thinking oh, here we go again. This is gonna be an uphill battle tonight.
Yeah. What's the pitching matchup tonight? I don't remember offhand.
Tonight, I believe they're off tonight, aren't they?
Oh, today's Thursday.
I believe they're off tonight, and they start their series tomorrow with the Twins.
Yeah, right. Okay. You got the Twins series pitching matchups in front of you? No.
I'll look it up real quick, and then I'll welcome in Phil Hubbard. I see him setting up his shot right now.
I can bring it up, too.
Give me a sec, but according to the schedule for the Guardians,
that's some good
tomorrow's pitching matchup is Peyton Battlefield versus Bailey Ober.